I will set the zeitgeist straight.
The movie has too much of the cast in it.
Man, I'm saddled with Jeff Goldblum, the world's most uncharismatic actor.
But it has no poetry.
That's not what this is about.
The problem was when the hero started facing adversity.
Get off your soapbox, Laura Dern.
I want to square off on this guy at a dinner party.
The music was thick.
So far, you have not dazzled me. I'm just letting you know. Hey everybody, welcome to Off the Mark, good chat on bad takes of great movies. I'm Dave Columbo, and this is my co-host, Mick Andrews.
Hello everybody, how we doing?
Feeling good tonight, how we doing?
Doing okay. Happy to talk about a great movie.
Yes, a river runs through it. That's what we're starting with now. So basically, okay, here's the thing. This is the fabulous, if this goes well, this is that really homely first episode where the audio is really bad and we look back on it and we're like, oof, oh God, we didn't know what we were doing back then. So let's just enjoy this for what it is.
This is an early deep. You guys are in on the ground floor.
This is the bootleg demo. This is the cassette tape demo. Just setting the bar nice and high for everybody.
Yeah. This is what we hand out to people on the subway going like, hey, check this out. You're going to love this sound.
Do you have an 8-track player? This is a podcast where we want to talk about the most beloved films ever made. I don't think there's many podcasts that do that. I think we may be the only one.
We're breaking new ground here. We're really forging it in uncharted territory.
Right, but the hook, if you will, it's what the kids are calling it, is we find the negative reviews of the movie and we discuss why. So every episode will be a different movie that even if it's not your favorite movie, it is a widely considered classic. Like, you at least acknowledge the world has made their decision on this movie, and
it has withstood the test of time to some degree.
That if you are the one who doesn't like it at the house party, you are the odd person out. You are definitely, you have to defend your case.
Yeah, it's your hipster take. It's what gives you personality, is being the person who hates this movie.
The reason why I'm intrigued by this idea is I've always been fascinated by discussing art in such a sterile. There's something so smug about movie reviewers before the modern age, and boy, like the research that I did for this episode in reading about our movie today, the air of superiority, the lack of relatability blows my mind. And I'm not sure if you did you grow up kind of caring about movie reviews?
Yeah, I did. I didn't really go out of my way to find the right reviewer for me per se. But I remember growing up with Ebert and Siskel, and then became Ebert and Roper. I remember that as being I knew what 2 thumbs up meant my entire life.
When you were a kid, did that matter?
I don't know if it mattered so much what a specific reviewer said, but I remember reading the covers of movies with the quotes being this sounds like something for me.
Right.
Like a nonstop thrill ride, little things like that, little phrases like that. If they were good, if something was fun and sold me on it, yeah, that would definitely do it. Every now and then you find those ones that had they managed to squeeze a pun into it or something like that. Something about it's I don't know, the Food Fight the movie, and it'll be it's a smash hit or something.
It's a very good time.
Yeah. Every now and then you see one of those and you go, haha, all right.
But then I
appreciated that, and so
what
would
about
affect my viewing?
I remember, and I've talked about this in the past elsewhere, but I remember renting Super Mario Brothers the movie because very clearly on the cover it said "It's a blast."
It's a blast. I have it over here somewhere.
The font of "It's a blast" is bigger than the Mario Brothers the movie.
Hang on for the video. There it is.
Yeah. So it's a blast, according to what is it, the Washington Post?
It's the Washington Post. Yeah.
So the folks are they the ones who like broke Watergate? Aren't they the ones who broke
They
Watergate?
are. They
So
are.
so okay, all right. So what were
Yeah,
the
Woodward and
Woodward and
Bernstein.
Bernstein say that this movie is worth your time.
Those guys are sharing the same bullpen as the guy who wrote "It's a Blast"
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
cover
And
of.
who knows? It could have been Woodward and Bernstein. It could have been them. And then you watch the movie and you're like, in no way, shape, or form. When you were a kid, did you ever feel like, wait a minute, they're not always true? It says 4 stars on the cover, but I've only felt 2. You know?
uh, I don't remember when I first kind of started thinking like I'll be the judge of whether or not this is a good movie. But I mean, for Super Mario Bros. In particular, not to focus on one movie, but for Super Mario Bros., I remember specifically. First off, I was a dumb kid, and it was a video game themed movie. As far
Mhm.
as I was concerned, I enjoyed it.
Right.
So I like as a kid, I enjoyed the hell out of that movie because I didn't know any better. Um, I can't remember what my first movie was where I was like, maybe these guys don't know exactly what they're talking about all the
Yeah.
time. But there had to come a certain point because I do feel like as when we were younger, maybe it was just well, it was definitely just like the pre-internet era was just a different landscape in terms of this kind of stuff. People weren't you know, I think there was a feeling that like not everyone's opinion is equally valid.
Mhm.
These guys have like surely they've done something to earn the title of movie critic
They really
and
were the
are
gatekeepers.
they're they're like tastemakers for movies.
Right.
And you can tell in some reviews like that's how they see themselves. It's like if I slam this, it is the kiss of death for
Right.
this movie.
The power that
And
I wield, I will take down Scorsese if I have
yeah,
to.
I
Yeah,
will
yeah, yeah.
destroy you with a keystroke.
Well, some of the
um
some of the words that I'm gonna read in some of these reviews, I had to look up because I'm like, dude, you're reviewing Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. What's with the what's with the
yeah,
esoteric loftiness, you know?
yeah.
So yeah, so let's jump in. Today's movie is, I don't know, it's this little movie called Jurassic Park.
Ever
Um,
heard of it?
ever heard of it? I mean, real quick, let's kind of, talk about what that movie means to us. I don't know, everything. I don't know, like before Jurassic Park and after Jurassic Park. You- it- there are still days where I will just quote it around the
Mhm.
house for no. It's the kind of movie, and there's not many like this because I tend to not be such a movie snob. But there's certain movies where you know them so well that even if your friends quote it right, but they're not quoting it in the right rhythm, you still get mad.
Yeah,
Like
you're
if
doing
someone
it wrong.
goes like, "Welcome to Jurassic Park." I'm like, that's he doesn't take the pauses there.
Yeah, all right, cut.
Cut, like I know the like the breaths taken by each of the characters.
Mhm.
It's obviously what hasn't already been said about it. It's just like literally turned an entire 3 generations of children onto dinosaurs, onto
Yeah.
science, onto, I mean, everything. I mean, in terms of the feats of movie making, incredible. Like literally broke the mold.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
and one of the reasons that I love it is it's one of the few movies that I feel like it's like objectively well made. So yes,
Mhm.
the cash tie-ins, the blockbuster nature, the it's riding on a fad. Yes, all of that, but it's also so good that nobody remembers that and people only celebrate it 30 years later.
It is a turning point in, uh, movies. Like a lot of, for anyone who doesn't know, it is one of the first movies to use is it ILM using CGI in that?
Mhm.
Or I forget what the production studio is, but it was the first one to integrate practical and computer generated imaging i- on the scale that it did. And so we have a lot to thank Jurassic Park for in terms of like its impact on movies. Setting aside just its own intrinsic value as like a fun blockbuster movie, its impact is something that'll go on forever. So, I mean, anyone who has a movie in which there's a combination of practical effects and green screen CGI work,
Yeah.
we've got Jurassic Park to thank for, something like Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. Like
Who
that's
took the ball from Jurassic Park and really ran into the end
just
zone.
just really completed the sentence that Jurassic Park started,
We all remember
Yeah.
where we were on that solemn day when we found out that Sky Captain didn't get the sequel that we all were waiting for.
We were the world was robbed.
Yeah. What are
Yeah.
we called? The cap heads? Is that what we're all called in our community? As technology has improved, there are fewer and fewer moments where there are these huge standout jumps in technology that we all acknowledge and we all know where we were. What was the last one? Bullet time with the Matrix was like.
Yeah.
Is that
That's a
really
good
the
one.
last
I'm trying
time
to
that you could
think.
say, okay, there was movie technology before and then movie technology after? Because everything since has felt to me like variations of success of basic CG. Like
Yeah. Different variations on the same theme is basically what you're getting. I mean, if I'm trying to think of other like inflection points in cinema, a couple of things stand out to me, but they're not like I think of like 3D,
mhm,
shooting movies in 3D, shooting movies in IMAX. But that kind of stuff always strikes me as more of like a fad or for like niche kind of hardcore audiences.
yeah.
It's not like the invention of IMAX changed how we view movies or like how we are able to tell stories. CGI 100% did that. I think no one could argue that movies are now different because you can mix animation with real life on screen in a in like a realistic looking way. It's
That
incredible.
that said, there is nothing that I love more than going back, especially when the 3D fad happened in the 80s, watching movies not in 3D that were clearly made in the theater for
Oh,
3D.
where they do the like
It's just because it's not you're literally just sitting at home on your plasma screen TV watching a character go.
oh, when
He's
that
reaching
happens,
for a really long time.
if I'm watching a movie with my wife and that happens, I straight up go, I just it's like he reached out and grabbed us. She's like, you need to stop. That's not funny. You
Have
need to
you
stop doing that.
have you ever been to one of those theaters? Because I did it recently. I forget what movie I was. Oh, it was Indiana Jones. It was the most recent Indiana Jones. The
Hmm.
only theater time
Unforgettable. How could you possibly have forgotten that
unforgettable.
movie?
The only time that was available was one of those like $40 tickets for that, like the seats shake
Oh, the
and you
4D shit.
and you
Yeah.
get the like we're gonna spray the mist in your face. Have you ever done? Have
Hmm.
you ever
Hmm.
sat in those?
I did one of those, and it was the Muppet movie down in Disneyland in Florida, where you were sitting in the thing, and a bunch of mice on the movie screen got loose, and they would blow puffs of air at your ankles
Yeah,
to make it feel. This was what they were going for, to make it feel like rats were running past your feet. That was
that's
their goal
right.
with that 4D. Ever since then, I was like, I don't think I need to experience cinema on that level.
I love
Like
them like workshopping that before it was ready for mass audiences. It's like, now when you felt those puffs of smoke, did you of air, did you feel like that was, I don't know, a
Yeah.
mouse? And just like raise your hand if you thought that was a mouse and
Well,
just
you were appropriately disgusted, but
yeah. All right, we have a lot of work to do. I went to see Indiana Jones and my seat wasn't working properly. So I just saw everybody in front of
everybody
me.
else enjoying themselves.
But like it was really jerky. So at some point I was like very thankful that mine wasn't. I was like, I
Yeah.
dodged a bullet here. Like I
Oh,
paid
that's
$40
great.
to watch everybody else go like Oh yeah.
I love the idea that you had such a fundamentally different viewing experience than like every other person in
Yeah. They're all like, whoa, whoa.
and you are stone still.
Literally
Just
stone still, just kind of going like, I am so thankful. Yeah. All
oh
right.
man, honestly, you got to tell me where that seat is because
Oh,
if I ever have a group of people who need to go see something in 4D, I just want that seat. Everyone else can have their fun.
yeah.
I'm
Give me
sorry if that makes me close-minded or
the
like
old
not
fart
cool.
seat, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So let's begin with this is the review that made me want to start this podcast.
Hmm.
I read this
Right.
review and was like, I need to talk about this specific review. So for this podcast, I'm not going to read literally word for word the entire thing because some reviews are obscenely long and go off 4, 5, 6 paragraphs on things that have nothing to do with the plot. So
Mhm.
I'm also not going to name the reviewer. I'm going to name the publication and I'm going to jump into the review. So you can go online and look this up if you want and see what I've missed and see if important context was missed. But I really did try.
Get in the comments, everybody.
Get in there. Honestly, the cuts that I made were definitely not trying to take out context to make this seem worse than it is. Genuinely, I was literally just cutting out pieces that really didn't fit and didn't really mean anything. So just keep that in mind as I read this. This is the Globe and Mail's review for Jurassic Park upon release. So this is not posthumous. This is on the release.
Hmm.
And let's see if you can spot the homophobic slur.
Okay, before we even get into it, because here's the thing. Sorry. I was gonna ask this, and now I don't know why that information made me really want to know, but it's become more relevant. Do we know where the Globe and Mail is from?
I don't know, but this was
Okay.
then like cataloged in a book of this reviewer's other reviews. So this guy thought so highly of himself that he made a book collecting his reviews.
His greatest hits.
Yeah, by the way, he also did I looked up some of his other stuff too just to see his other takes. He also didn't like Silence of the Lambs or Raging Bull. So the guy's got taste, okay?
Oh my God. The guy can't miss.
Yeah. So
I have a feeling we've just discovered an off the mark regular on episode 1.
yeah.
So I'm
gonna
excited for
this guy's
review.
a gold mine. Okay. Quote, someday historians will look back on all this with amazement. How, they will ask, could so many have become so excited over so little? Jurassic Park is perfectly passable kiddie escapism. It has a thrill or two and a chill or three.
A thrill or two.
A thrill or two and a chill or three, but it has no poetry. Little sense of
oh
wonder.
my God. Okay, sorry.
No, hop in whenever you want. Whenever you want to hit
there's
the
no
buzzer.
poetry to it.
There's no poetry. I mean,
sure, it was a summer action adventure movie, and it had action and adventure and was a popcorn flick. Sure, but did it really sing to me?
sure,
You know?
sure, it was a horror movie, also for kids, and also discussed like the literal fabric of playing God and sociology. Like literally, it touched on all of these topics, but I wanted more.
But yeah, it didn't. It's what's that? Oh my God, it reminds me of that scene. It's a Steve Martin movie where he works his ass off, like at his, he's got a dead end job. He gets passed up for a promotion, storms into his boss's office, goes, that job was absolutely mine. Why'd I get passed? He goes, you don't dazzle me, Dale. It's like, I don't dazzle
I
you.
don't dazzle you. Mick, I honestly,
it lacked the poetry.
I'm going to be honest with you. I've had a really great time doing this podcast with you so far. So far, you have not dazzled me. I'm just letting you know.
Well, that's my time, everybody.
Little sense of wonder. That's after no poetry.
Little sense
of wonder.
In
Jurassic, we're talking about Jurassic Park. Remember,
yeah, a movie about recreating the Jurassic era as a theme park that goes awry. Wow,
literally
yeah,
defined wonder for every child.
yeah.
Um,
Source of inspiration for every paleontologist or archaeologist
right.
currently working.
No resonant subtext, Jungian or otherwise, because we got to bring up, Jungian philosophy in our Jurassic
What
Park review.
this guy has the weirdest rubric of quality movie. Like, sure, it was a great flick, but I didn't really see Jung come through in this in any
What about the
major way.
subtext of the hero's journey? God. Bereft of tears and light on laughter, it's an amusement park ride and a junk food dinner all in one. Momentarily diverting, yet ultimately meaningless, it fills you up with nothing. When it's over, it's gone, extinct. I mean, nailed it.
Oh, you can hear the moan of self-satisfaction as he typed extinct on his fucking 1993 Macintosh.
There's one breathtaking sequence, the charge of a herd of harmless but huge critters fleeing a meat eater. The saurians are divided. Saurians, we have to come up with a synonym for dinosaurs because we got
they're new. They're from the city of Sor.
Yeah. Right. The saurians are divided, just like people in adventure movies, just like the people in this adventure movie, into good and bad. Good, the big-eyed herbivores, though E.T. is cuter. Bad, hold on. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Good, the big-eyed herbivores, though E.T. is cuter. Bad, the towering carnivores, though RuPaul is scarier.
What?
Let's just get room tone for a sec. Yeah. Yes. Comparing the T-Rex to RuPaul.
It's hitting me in waves.
It's a testament to like what you could straight up get away with in a mainstream newspaper in the early 90s. And people would go like, ha ha.
Yeah, that'll show him.
Right.
Ugh.
Blows my mind. Okay. Jurassic Park's biggest deficit, a systematic avoidance of structural novelty. Its melodramatic devices were old when dinosaurs were young. We've been exposed to the narrative and technical tricks.
Count it. That's another dino dig.
Yeah,
I
totally. I like he had all of these prepped and he's like, this is gonna be great. We've been exposed to the narrative and technical tricks repeated in other Spielberg hits, especially Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T., Raiders of the Lost Ark, and the Indiana Jones series. The rapid editing, the dramatic backlighting, the assaultive sound effects, Dolby migraine in selected theaters. I mean, when you strike gold, you strike gold.
I mean, the guy...
Like, he had no idea what was gonna happen to Hollywood. Like, he's saying this in the early 90s.
It feels like he traveled through time, saw the future, and then went like, I can change this. If I go back and I steer everyone away from all the cool things that movies do now.
But like,
surround sound, like high quality audio, CGI. I'll get rid of all that stuff and it'll just be nothing but movies about the categorical imperative of Carl Jung. But
that's
what the people want.
What amazes me is it's like it gets so much worse, dude. Hollywood gets so much worse. That's something that you're going to notice and you're going to see a lot in this is like a lot of reviewers are like, "Oh my goodness, is this the downfall of Hollywood?" And it's like, no, you don't understand. This was when it still had heart and life. This was not the downfall. The downfall comes so much later.
Yeah. This is the golden age of like summer flicks.
Michael Bay hasn't even gotten the Transformers franchise yet.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a long way down from Jurassic Park.
And here we go. This is my favorite part. Like its predecessors, Jurassic Park will make millions. It's already impossible to escape the promotional tie-ins. There's actually a display in the movie. Because the character in the movie wants to market Jurassic Park. It's a subtle commentary.
It's its own. Yeah. It's its own. Yeah. And didn't he like 4 sentences ago say there was no subtext, that there was no
Yeah,
like self-awareness to this movie?
right, right. Yeah. At McDonald's, for example, the fries now come in a paper dinosaur head. T-Rex appears to be puking potatoes. This made
That's
it into the review.
awesome.
The,
That's so
the
cool.
McDonald's tie-in lack of, like
affected the quality of the movie for him.
So here's the last paragraph. Someday, scientists will pick through the fossilized remains of Hollywood. They will find Jurassic Park. They will screen it. They will use it to reconstruct life eons ago when directors and producers roamed, if not ruled, the earth. You see what he's doing here? You see what he's doing here?
Yeah, I'm picking it up.
Citing the film as evidence, the scientists will release their conclusions. Movies died out because they got too big for their pea-sized brains. The scientists will have a name for this extinct species, Sinosaurus. I mean, I know a podcast is supposed to be two people talking about something, but I think that sound really said more than... He was so happy. Oh my God, the death of Hollywood mirrors the death of the dinosaur. How far can I take this?
He thought of it and went like, "Hey, honey, I got my hook. It's gonna be dead, like how dinosaurs are dead. Okay, dear, like just write it.
Bring our dog. Bring our dog Jung in here."
Yeah. Hey kids, Carl, get in here.
The idea of cockily saying one day they're gonna dust off. You know how you forget dinosaur bones for millions of years, and then someday somebody finds them and they say, "What is this?" That's gonna be Jurassic Park. This movie will be forgotten. Mm-hmm. It'll be lost, and one day someone will find it and go, "What was this?" Like, you could not be more off.
Yeah, for sure. And it's the kind of movie that is so ubiquitous. Like, it's just so it's so in everybody's mind that if you ask 10 people what their favorite movie was, at least one would say Jurassic Park, and no one would go, "Oh."
Right.
Everyone goes like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
Yeah, that's a great that's a good example of what I want to shoot for with every movie that we cover on this, which is like, even if it's not in your top 5, if somebody else brings it up as in their top 5, everybody else goes, "Oh, good choice."
Makes sense.
Yeah. At least it makes sense.
Yeah. It's a movie about dinosaurs that have long since gone extinct because through evolution or natural circumstances, they are no longer, what they're providing to the ecosystem is no longer necessary. They're obsolete. It's not lost on me that what you and I in this moment are doing is digging up old relics, dusting them off, reading them, going like, this this has been selected for extinction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just so ironic. This to me, or I don't know if irony is really the right word, but just like, I find it fun that like these people thought that they were gonna land a blow against a movie that is now a touchstone. That 5-year-olds watch this movie with a sense of wonderment that this guy completely missed.
That they hold so much. Like, say what you will about like the YouTube video essayist generation. Say what you want about their lack of credibility, or how many, YouTube videos have I watched where just some kid is just like, Last Jedi is the worst movie ever. Sure. But at least there's an awareness in their voice. Hey, I am literally a kid in his basement. There's a humility that we've earned, that we've gained now, because I don't think there are regarded movie critics in the same way. It's all moved to the YouTube space.
Yeah. And I was just gonna say to tag on to what you're saying, those people who approach it with humility, um, they know better than to just say stuff.
Right.
Like every YouTube video now is one of the most detailed researched, like the good ones, the quality, there's crap everywhere. But the fact that anyone can review whatever they want means that the caliber of review necessarily needs to improve in terms of like, if not entertainment value through like act outs and like
Yeah.
bits and comedy infused into the review,
And
but
typically,
like
you don't even see it until a certain level of people, a certain number of people are like, "This is quality, thumbs up."
it's been
It
vetted.
doesn't even
It's
show
been
up
vetted by
on
the
yeah.
time it shows up on my algorithm. Yeah, on my thing. At least 1 million people have seen it or something like that, which is crazy. But the people who do these high quality reviews, they back it up with clips from the movie. They reference other prior works. They don't talk about McDonald's hardly ever. So, like, yeah, I think that the the this guy wrote a review, and I think a lot of these reviews are coming from a world where they're simply not questioned, so these guys didn't have to work.
Mhm.
That like this guy wasn't competing with a 13-year-old in his basement with, and I say this with love, because they make some of the best reviews.
Yeah.
A 13-year-old in his basement with nothing but time on his hands, but analyzing and scrutinizing every detail of a movie that they care passionately about. And they're there to explain to you why this movie is phenomenal. And 9 times out of 10, they win me over.
And not the I mean, let's be honest, the reviewer like we just read, how different would his situation be if there was a comment section directly
Yeah.
under that review? You can't get away with that. You can't get
No,
away with that sort of thing
no.
in the modern space.
Even negative reviews these days, they have like, if you're gonna go after something as like even if it weren't a hit, it I mean, I feel like at least Jurassic Park being a Spielberg movie, a high budget movie of this quality, even if it were not as good as it is, it would be a cult movie.
Yeah.
Like it would be the kind of thing that nerds get passionate about regardless of mainstream success. If you're going to go after something like that, you need to be ready, like
Mhm.
you need to know why you're saying what you're saying. You can't just go like, I removed 1 star because it didn't have enough, philosophical subtext. Like people are like, that's not what this is about. That's
Right.
not what any of this is about.
Yeah.
It's too easy to tear apart a flimsy critical review now. And it's just like, I don't know. That one cracked me up a lot. I particularly like the line of like, it had a thrill or two and a chill or two. It's like, that strikes me as like the kind of reviews you see from people who are trying to trash on like a comedy special. And they go like, the most it got out of me was like, I sharply exhaled out of my nose 1 time.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
it is so dismissive
It's
of
so dismissive.
a thrill or two. Maybe there was a thrill. What an abstract, like, I kept score of all the thrills I felt, and I only got to 2.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
the fuck are you talking about?
Here's another one. I'm just going to take little spots here and there for this is called
Mhm.
Dinomania. This is from the New York Review, August 12th, 1993. Trying to
Okay.
remember where I was. The effects don't always work. The very first dinosaur scene when paleontologist Grant hops out of his vehicle to encounter a computer generated Brachiosaurus is the film's worst flop. Grant is clearly not in the same space as the dinosaur, and I could only think of Victor Mature similarly out of sync with his beasts in 1 million years BC. Nailed it. Nailed it. You know, that scene that everybody plays in every montage about cutting edge CG, cutting edge effects, changing Hollywood forever.
Yeah, what
that
a breathtaking scene that is. Yeah.
That's the one that is the film's worst flop and really reminds everybody of 1,000,000 years BC.
It lets, yeah, that's what I thought of too. I in the theaters, I was 3 years old. In the theaters, I went, fake, because listen, everyone was thinking it. I'm just gonna say it.
Victor Mature did better. Like, what are you talking? I mean,
yeah,
and again, I hate to repeat myself, but Grant is clearly not in the same space as the dinosaur. You have no idea how bad it can get.
you're in for some
2012
really,
hasn't come out yet, where there's thousands of digital characters falling out of buildings to their death. And what's his name from that movie? Oh God,
John Cusack.
John Cusack,
right?
like, is staring at clearly a CG screen, reacting to nothing. It gets so much worse.
Oh yeah.
Than Jurassic
Park.
Park.
How about what, like, when you start doing CGI characters in movies, and people basically have to react off of like a tennis ball and a stick for their reference? It's like, and you can see their eye line is like 6 inches above the person's head. It's there's a long way down from Jurassic Park. I know I've said that already, but man, there's. Can I just ask you if you could read back the beginning of that sentence? He said, did he say the first interaction? Not to be pedantic, but
the very first dinosaur scene.
The very first dinosaur scene is Dr. Grant interacting with a brachiosaur?
Yeah. It's not.
No, it is not. Not to be a pedant about it, but
good point.
It's decidedly not.
But another point, I mean, it's got the T-Rex scene, which he doesn't mention here, but like is probably one of the greatest feats in visual effects in history. If your movie has that scene in it, I think that everything else gets a pass. I mean, he's wrong, but shouldn't you just kind of go like, all right, I'm going to not, like, that would be like mentioning in your review of There Will Be Blood a scene where Daniel Day-Lewis blinks in a weird way. It's like, okay, it's still the greatest performance in modern movie history.
Yeah, or being like, yeah, it's sure, it's a great movie, but he's sweaty for an awful lot of it.
Isn't he?
So,
like, it's so
they couldn't clean him up.
Yeah.
That's exactly the point. No, but yeah, my God.
Later in this review, he goes, when talking about Ian Malcolm, he goes, "What dullness and disappointment."
From Jeff Goldblum.
From Jeff Goldblum, yeah. And this is in parentheses, and Malcolm in the film is a frightful and tedious bore, obviously so recognized by Spielberg, for he effectively puts Malcolm out of action with a broken leg about halfway through. Yeah, that's what Spielberg did. He wrote a movie.
He wrote him out of the movie.
Realized while shooting, this is really bad.
Yeah. He was like, man, I'm saddled with Jeff Goldblum, the world's most uncharismatic actor.
Oh boy. All right. What can we do? All right.
Yeah. How do I dig myself out of this casting decision? I loved the idea of Dr. Ian Malcolm, but I'm stuck with national treasure Jeff Goldblum.
Oh my God.
Okay. I mean, yeah.
Okay, so this is from The Independent. The big picture: "Spare the rod, spoil the child" is what it's called. This one, this one is all about. I'm not going to get into it, but this one's all about how, like, the kids are never in danger, and it's all about how, like, it's such fluff that the kids constantly, like, are okay, and it's ridiculous.
Don't they electrocute a child in this movie?
Yeah.
They do, right?
They do.
Okay.
I mean, at one point, one's in a car that gets shoved off of a scaffolding, falls into a tree, and he goes, "I threw up." Like crap happens to them.
horrible. A raptor lands on them. Is it the raptor or the T-Rex head pushes through and they're pushing against
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
skylight? Yeah, these kids are pretty fine for most of the movie.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
unrealistic.
fine. Let me read a little bit from this one
Yeah,
so
let
that
me
you
hear
can
this. Let
hear
me
it.
hear this one.
The worst
Sock it
thing
to me.
about I have to say it in like a snoot. I have to read it in a snooty. I want so badly to read it just bare bones, but it's like the worst thing about Jurassic Park is the worst thing about Jurassic Park is that of an economic necessity of securing a PG certificate for what is essentially a horror film has been allowed to intervene in the storytelling so that the tone is constantly disrupted by an incongruous reassurance. You may have seen cartoon books of the Greek myths retold for children, where the ugly workings of fate are sweetened by consoling illustrations. Yes, my little one, Hercules has gone mad and killed his children. But what's that peeping out from beneath his chair? Yes, it's a bunny rabbit. Jurassic Park gives the same impression when the
What the
classic thriller dynamics of tension and relative and release are violated in favor of a much faster and alternation of nastiness and pseudo-parental smothering. That made it into his review. How up your own ass?
It's that. Yeah, that one is.
It's
Honestly, that's
comical.
worse. That's worse than the Not Enough Young.
Right, but it's not even. But like that, the problem is that some of these are like bad in a very bland and long way.
Mhm.
They're not like let me hit him with the hits, like and Not Enough Young. Like it is literally like what did I just read?
Yeah. And also, what do you actually give me a tangible thing you're looking for different in this movie?
I read because when you if you want to talk about the criticism of like, oh, it's a PG 13 like horror movie,
Mhm.
I take it as an incredible feat that this movie is as good. I mean, there's a severed arm in it. Like there's a
Yeah.
severed arm. This
Yeah. I
movie
was
is as good at like horror as it is, while also inspiring a generation of kids, and kids can go see it and enjoy it. Name another movie that comes close to this level.
no. 100%. 100%. I was gonna say it's a triumph of this movie that it could get. Is it PG-13 or PG?
I think it's
Is it a
PG
P? Is it
13.
PG? Okay, it's
I think it's
PG-13.
13. Yeah.
That makes sense. That it managed to get that rating and still be the kind of movie where uh that is like a scary movie for both adults and children.
Yeah.
That it's I mean, it boils down to it's the rippling of the water in the cup in the car when the T-Rex is walking. It's all these little notes of tension that um that have nothing to do with like hard R gore or like slasher flick. Like basically this person is what they're asking for is a hard R version of this movie, which would effectively turn it into like Friday the 13th but with a dinosaur instead of
Yeah.
Jason. That's what they were expecting. And it's like to walk into a movie expecting that. It's one thing to walk into a movie expecting that and to walk out having been presented with something different, but to leave Jurassic Park going, I wish this was a slasher flick with dinosaurs in it. I was let down
Yeah.
instead of like wow, what a different thing that I was presented with that is like to have to be so focused on getting one thing that you get to miss something cool that you were given instead is like I almost feel bad for that person
In
if they can't.
addition to that, I want to know what their template is. And I feel like I'm going to say this a lot on this podcast, which is like, what have you seen in the realm of horror slash kid friendly movies that nailed it better pre 1993? What movies were you seeing in the early 90s and the late 80s that were knocking this out of the park that Jurassic Park didn't hit the heights of?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know
See,
what it is that you're saying you like it should have been. I don't even know.
that's why I'm jumping to slashers. I'm trying to put it in the context of time. And if I know, kind of the history of scary movies, right? The late 80s, early 90s was kind of a hot time for your Jasons, your Freddys, your um did The Thing come out? But there were like Cronenberg movies,
Yeah.
like body horror stuff. I guess my only guess is that's what they were asking for. And they were like, "Oh, dinosaurs, great. We're gonna get to watch them tear people apart," which is like, that's gross if that's why you're going to a movie, but like, okay. Um, like if that's the exclusive like condition for success, um, I think you're gonna miss out on you did demonstrably miss out on a really great movie.
Well,
Uh,
if I remember
so
correctly,
weird.
and I haven't read it, but the book is apparently a lot darker. Like an argument could be made, and in none of these reviews do I read any of this. An argument could be made like, oh, the Spielberg schmaltz
Mm,
softened what could have been an accurate retelling of Crichton's book,
right.
which I don't agree
I think you're
with.
giving them a lot of credit for
Right.
being like the book was better.
Yeah,
Nobody
I mean,
says that.
to me, it's the whole Shining argument where it's like it didn't do justice to King's book, and I'm like, I
Mhm.
read King's book. The movie made the right choices
Yeah,
to
it's
turn
fine.
it into
It
what
made
it
some.
is.
Yeah,
Um,
there was a lot of editing that Stephen King did not feel was necessary
yeah.
in The Shining. But
There's okay, so in this review there is a point where we can actually get into a little bit of a very specific moment here of a very specific criticism
oh, great, great, great,
because this
great.
has all been very like like general, but I love
Mhm.
this. Laura Dern's character Ellie is conventionally devoted to Grant, but has odd fits of feminism when talking to everyone else.
Oh,
At one
how dare
point,
she?
when the park's inventor, Hammond, Sir Richard Attenborough, suggests that he should go on a dangerous sortie instead of her. I think this was like a British tabloid that did this review. That's why sortie
The
is
sortie, yeah.
so, it's a little bit of a sortie. Instead of her, she snaps, "We can discuss sexism in survival situations when I get back." It seems not to occur to her that the reason for his offer, which he can't get out, might not be because I'm a man, but because it's all my fault. No, no. In the movie,
That's
he
he's
goes, because I'm a and you're a.
right. He actually explicitly do that?
He
Like,
literally points to himself and points to her, which like this guy is looking for an anti-feminism argument, but he misread the entire scene.
right.
He's
Right.
literally not even addressing what like maybe Dr. Hammond meant this. He didn't. He didn't say that.
Yeah. Like and you're yeah.
But it is
I
nice
mean,
to
what
know that
else who's watching I'm trying to think of like sitting there watching that scene, seeing Hammond say that line. What words do you think were unsaid that this reviewer heard? Because I'm a Pisces and you're a Leo.
because I'm
Like,
standing over here and you're standing
yeah,
over there.
but I'm all the way over here.
I'm
Do you
closer to
see
the
how
door and you're
what
at least neither of us are that boring Jeff Goldblum over there. Yeah, I mean,
uh,
isn't it at least a little heartwarming to know that even in 1993 there was like oh, this is too woke. It's not all about feminism,
yeah, it's
ladies.
this yeah. Stop making it about women, even when people make it about women in front of you. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's it was a sexism in survival situation conversation they were having. Get
Um
off your soapbox, Laura Dern.
that's my band name, by the way. Get off your soapbox, Laura Dern.
That's Laura Dern.
Couple more, we're almost done. New Republic. God, the plot wrapped throughout with thick music.
I was curious if anyone was going to say anything about the music because we haven't yet.
I mean, excuse me? Another
Oh
thick
man.
soundtrack from John Williams.
Oh man.
The
Just
plot, I mean,
yeah.
wrapped throughout with thick music, doesn't need summary. The actors don't need
Thick
comment,
music.
though some of them are well known. Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Richard Attenborough, Jeff Goldblum. Several organizations worked on constructing the monsters and the computerized animation. The results make poor old King Kong look like something from a Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. Such is progress.
Someone gets it. Hell yeah.
But that line at the end, such is progress. You're like you're sarcastically lamenting that
Oh no,
technology has
yeah,
improved.
yeah.
Oh, that's the way it goes. Like,
Yes, that's just
fuck you.
progress.
Like,
It was also, yeah. It was 60 years.
yeah. I mean, it's like, what are you expecting? It took 60 years for
I
him
guess
to seem
I suppose
outdated.
it's progress of a kind.
Yeah.
Like,
And then here, I do not understand this. Help me
Okay.
understand this. Such
Okay.
is progress. One detail bothered this non-child. The plot has a villain, a traitor. On the console at his desk is pasted a photo of J. Robert Oppenheimer. That's the end of the review.
What?
The end of the review says that he was bothered
What?
that the villain has a picture of Oppenheimer on his desk.
What? Why?
Again, made the review.
That made the cut.
Are you saying we definitely should have dropped the bomb? Is that what you're saying, Spielberg? Like,
I'm trying to figure out if this is some kind of like, I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory. We should look into this reviewer and make sure he doesn't have like a Spielberg Oppenheimer conspiracy theory
that he's been working
like
on.
permeates through. Yeah, he's like in ET says, ET says, I am become death or something. Like, I don't
when
know.
he says phone home, that's what he means.
That's what he means. If you take the letters and rearrange them in the proper order, he's one of those guys.
Right now, he's in a movie theater watching Oppenheimer going, you know who really directed this, don't you?
Oh my God.
All right.
I just don't understand. I'm sorry. I don't mean to belabor the point, but to what end would Oppenheimer is a scientist. All these people were scientists. All these people were working on fringe work.
I just like the idea of like you get to that part in the movie and you can't enjoy anything else because
that spoiled the movie for you.
Yeah, that I was on board until you roped in politics.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So before we get to the end here, have any of these reviews changed your opinion of Jurassic Park?
Well,
are you going to now watch it with
the
fresh
music
eyes?
Was? I'm still thinking about that equally as much as Oppenheimer. I don't even know what he means by thick.
Yeah.
Is he saying it's schmaltzy? Because it's John Williams. It's orchestral. I don't know. It's above the top, like over the top, but like for a good reason. It serves its purpose.
I don't know.
I don't know what I mean, that's the thing is like, it seems like this podcast is going to be an adventure in meeting people who do not approach movies with a sense of joy. That these people feel like, and I don't mean to paint with too broad a brush. Some people might just not like a movie and they write a bad review that doesn't stand the test of time. But the theme I got from all of these today was there are a lot of people, at least in 1993, who were writing movie reviews from a perspective of impress me by making the movie I wanted to see.
Right.
And that's I feel bad for anyone who approaches movies like that because you're going to miss out on an awful lot of really interesting things if the only thing you want to see is something that affirms your perspective going into it, or caters to what you wanted to see before you walk through the door. So yeah, no, as good as all these arguments have been, I think Jurassic Park is gonna hold up just
Still
fine in my
stands the test of
mind.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's still okay for in my book.
I was blown away. I cut a lot out of it, but literally every review had something to say about the product placement, about the state of modern. Like, I went to Burger King and got Dino Bits, and is that where we are now? And it made me love Jurassic Park even more because I was there for it. I watched the action figure toy line come out and was desperate to get the T-Rex,
Hmm.
and like I
Hmm.
remember all of the corporations coming out around the same time and trying to ride on the fame and the glory. It's still here, and nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about, people go out and buy new Jurassic Park
New shirt,
shirts.
yeah,
They don't
yeah.
like, you never see like someone selling on eBay like a dusty popcorn tin from Jurassic Park because, oh man, remember this? It never went away. It
Hmm.
literally never went away. It has stayed with us this whole time. And the fact that every single one of these reviews had kind of this vibe of like, oh no, this
Yeah,
frivolousness,
yeah,
this frivolous thing that we'll forget about in a couple of weeks. And literally, how wrong were they?
yeah. I mean, yeah, that is something I feel like it in to give them 1 ounce of credit. It takes a lot of guts to look around at a phenomena like Jurassic Park, with the level of cross promotion, the level of ubiquity that I'm sure it had at the time. In terms of like McDonald's and all this, all the product placement nonsense. To look around at all that and go, um, I think I'm gonna be the one who's right about this.
Yeah.
I I'm going I'm going to be the one who really understands what this movie means to us as a culture. And I got to tell you, the music was thick. It-
This idea of like, I, Austin P. Mortimer, critique extraordinaire. My name will stand the test of
Mhm.
time.
I
But
will set the zeitgeist straight.
yes,
Uh,
I will be around in 30 years. So like we decided to like kind of like take the angle of one of these reviewers, or like a really 1-star Amazon review, and do our own horrible review for Jurassic Park. So what do you got?
Okay. So I did it from the perspective of a modern day reviewer on Amazon, which, if anyone has ever checked those reviews, it's the Wild West down in the comments there. So I said, I started out this movie with 5 stars. Spielberg, I love him. Took 1 star off for cranky kids. Took 1 star. Took another star off because Alan Grant didn't actually use that raptor claw on that kid at the beginning. Took off 2 more stars because Jeff Goldblum and Laura Dern don't bone. Uh, 1 star. So
And it's bone with a 0 in it instead of an O.
it's spelled with 2 N's. It's
Yeah.
actually Bon. So yeah,
Love it. I wrote mine in the format of like one of those 1993 up their own ass reviewers.
go for it.
More like Strife finds a way. Jurassic Park, aka Carnosaur without the charm, is little Stevie Spielberg's latest public attempt to monetize reliving his childhood.
Oh my god. Can I just stop you right there and
Uh-huh.
tell you that I can already like, you can read this however you want, but in my mind you are speaking exactly like Bill Maher during this.
New rule.
More like
New rule. And while
Okay,
he may
listen, people.
and while he may have created the best digital living creatures on film, as it is the first time, by definition, it's also the worst. William's score William's score meekly fades into the background. Parenthetical, if it was there at all. With an unmemorable melody, no child, I repeat, no child will hum every day for years and tear up listening to when he's almost 40 researching a movie for a podcast. Oddly specific prediction? Perhaps,
Well,
but that's how sure I am this movie blows.
Bravo.
Very Bill Maher. See, this screws it up because now I'm just going to imagine Bill Maher for every single reviewer that we do.
I don't think that's. I think that enhances the flavor rather than anything
you might
else.
be right.
Yeah, I mean, because all of these that we read today are written with this like, all right, people.
I'm gonna.
Can we
level with
just
you.
get our acts together and listen to me for once?
Yeah.
Like that's the angle.
Oh my god.
If that's your flavor of review or critic or whatever, go for it, man. But not for me. These guys they missed the mark.
Well, I think we officially have covered Jurassic Park. I don't think anyone needs to say anything else about it. So we can close the book on it.
We critiqued the critiques.
Yes, we did. This has been a lot of fun.
Been a blast, buddy.
The conversation was very thick.
Yeah, an annoying lack of philosophical conversation going on in here.
Yeah.
Not nearly enough young, but
please reach out, send us a review, send us a like, comment, let us know what you think we should do next. What movies should we cover? And why don't you leave your own Jurassic Park reviews and we'll read them out.
Oh, hell yeah, please.
But this has been awesome. I've been Dave Columbo, and this is Mick Andrews.
Signing out. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Have a good one.